What's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Ernest Dove, New York Mets Dove Report. Let's continue to talk something, right, in the winter while we wait for the Mets to make more moves. My move in this segment, let's talk prospects, obviously. But in this segment, I want to break it down position by position. My favorite particular prospects at every single spot. From starting pitcher, relief pitcher, and every position on the diamond. I'm going to give you the top prospects and or my favorite prospects at each position right now in the farm system, which is one of the best farm systems in Major League Baseball at this point. I may have a version of hot takes, controversial-ish choices, one over the other. So after the end of this video, if you guys want to comment, let me know what your discrepancies are with it. You debate with me. You tell me which one, guys, that you like better at a particular position than me. I'm always down for a debate. Let's get started. I want to start with the pitching. Mets have some of the most depth in the farm system anywhere in minor league baseball at the pitching position. There are some national publications who stated Mets had some of the biggest jumps, leaps of any baseball team in major leagues around the minor league system as far as their pitching. So much domination. That's why we even saw 3 prospects make debuts in the major leagues, with plenty more to come. Now, if I were to choose who is the best, first and foremost, let's get this over with. Nolan McLean, not even going to name him, because as far as I'm concerned, he's a major league pitcher. He's going to break camp with the New York Mets. Let his rookie eligibility run out during the 2026 season. He's a major leaguer. So I'm not going to mention or even state Nolan McLean being my favorite top minor league pitching prospect. Nor am I going to talk about Jonah Tong or Brandon Sproat. You already know my thoughts on those 2 guys. Major league quality. I would argue neither one should possibly break camp on the Mets, unless a guy like Sproat breaks camp in the bullpen. That would be my idea for him as a way to break camp on the major league roster. So, my choice for the top pitching prospect, or one of my favorites, the main pitching prospect at the starting pitcher position outside of the top 3 is Jack Wenninger, the right-handed pitcher. He is a horse. I've been talking about him, obviously, for a while. I am not the only one. There are a lot of fellow prospect huggers, Mets minor league junkies, who have Jack Wenninger very high. A lot of them, or a few of them that I know of out there, you guys know who you are. You have guys like Jack Wenninger ranked in your own top 10. You really are strongly in favor of a Jack Wenninger. So am I. That's why I'm actually picking him as the top pitching prospect in the Mets organization going into 2026, not counting the top 3. My thoughts on Jack Wenninger, he's going to eat innings. I see him as a horse. As far as the stats, 26 starts. Minor leagues, that's a lot. All jokes aside, major leagues, that would be amazing. The Mets would have won maybe 90 games last year if more guys actually made 26 starts out of their rotation. He also pitched 135 and 2/3 innings, which I believe might be the highest or second highest innings pitched in the Mets minor league system overall. He also, in those 135 innings, 147 Ks with a 225 opponent batting average. Now, what are his splits for a starter as a horse? Against lefties, lefties are hitting, or last year they hit 208 against him. Righties hit 237 against him. What happens with runners in scoring position? Last season overall, opponents with runners in scoring position hit $190 against Jack Wenninger. He is a horse. Now, I am not comparing the pitchers, but in my mind, when I think of the word horse and I think of the word healthy version, I can see Jack Wenninger as just a kind of a Harvey type horse who's going to take the mound. You're going to love seeing him. He's going to go about his business. He's going to go 5 to 6-ish innings, maybe 7. He's going to do it. He's going to eat the innings. He's going to be successful at the major league level. That is my projection. That's why I'm choosing Jack Wenninger. If you guys have other thoughts, Will Watson, R.J. Gordon, my favorite, Zach Thornton, the guy who only throws strikes. If you feel that they are a better pitcher or a higher projected ceiling than Jack Wenninger, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to debate. Now, as we get to the relief pitchers, I have to keep sticking to my guns with my favorites, which basically at this point, heading into the end of the season, even with some new intel I was getting from a couple of weeks ago, I'm going to break it down basically to 4 guys that I continue to hype and will hype heading into camp. But I have to go with the guy, Dylan Ross, the guy who technically was promoted to the major leagues and we never saw him. But Dylan Ross is a horse. 54 innings, 80 strikeouts. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get a fastball that can go from 97 to 102, led by his splitter, by the way, which his splitter is a really, really good pitch. As far as his splits, if you want to joke about it, versus lefties, they hit 174 against him last year. Righties hit 135. Runners in scoring position, obviously important for a pen arm, especially if he comes in with men on base. Runners in scoring position hit 111 against him. Not much going on there. Overall for the season, opponents hit 154 against him in the 2025 minor league season. Now, why wasn't he called up earlier? Why wasn't he a high leverage reliever as soon as he got to the Mets at the end? Well, command. In those 54 innings, 33 walks. That is going to be the concern with a lot of pitching, a lot of relievers. We all know the jokes for the Mets, but that's the thing. Dylan Ross, is he going to be a legit 8th, 9th inning pitcher? It's going to come down to overall pitch command. That's going to be it. That's it. He's going to dominate at the major league level when he has command. Can he command it enough to be a high leverage setup man or closer for the Mets in the next couple of years? That's the determination. Now, going to the catcher position, this could be one of those moves where, what do you want to know? What do you want to talk about? I'm going with a guy who doesn't even play catcher full time. My pick for the top catching prospect or top catcher position in the Mets farm system overall is Chris Suero, the super athlete who also plays left field and first base, which I could have basically put him at either one of those positions, but I have some favorites at those other positions. So I'm picking the guy who is an absolute beast, monster. He dies for us on the field as a pitcher, is what I was told during the 2025 season as far as how he handles the pitching staff game by game. That's something you want to hear. That's leadership. I see a version of Francisco Alvarez in Chris Suero from the leadership fire perspective. Even with the bat now, we're talking about a guy who's transitioned to power. And by the way, he'll play out the season as a 22-year-old in 2026. So he's still young. 378 at-bats last year, 16 home runs, 16 doubles. And oh, by the way, 35 stolen bases for a catcher. Again, not comparing. But as far as I'm concerned, a high ceiling projection for a guy like Chris Suero, he could be a version of a guy who, by the way, speed-wise, is going to be faster than Realmuto. So he's probably going to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest catcher in Major League Baseball if and when he arrives and catches. Because again, he may move around the field. But as a catcher, he is my pick. Now, Dove, whatever happened to your favorite, buddy? You're Giovanni Rodriguez. I still love Giovanni Rodriguez. If you want to put the proverbial pew-pew to my head and say pick and choose the highest ceiling, I still probably have to go Giovanni Rodriguez as a full-blown, full-time catcher who's still younger by a couple of years. He's got a long ways to go. But I still see a bright future for Giovanni Rodriguez. But for the purposes of this, making me make a decision, I'm going Chris Suero, who, by the way, started getting a lot of praise last year defensively from a lot of national respected publications. Now, I've been talking about him, talking to coaches since 2024. I had one of the coaches and scouting staff tell me, super athlete, play him literally anywhere. He has a bright future. Talking to a pitching coach. The pitching coach told me, even from 2024, Ernest, he's progressing by the week, probably almost by the day from the catching position. Because again, he's still learning, even definitely 2024, even into 2025, making the progress. He's still overall a defensive work in progress if you're only talking catcher position. But he's my guy. I think he could be in the major leagues very soon, even as early as next year. How? Figure it out. I don't want to just say replace Luis Torrens or replace Alvarez. That would be huge. But I think he has a future. I think he's the top, or my top, catcher position player in the Mets farm system. Now, here's another curveball I'm going to throw, but I'm not the only guy who has said this online. Let's go first base. Who's the obvious? Not my choice. My choice for the top Mets prospect, position-wise, at first base is Jacob Reimer. He is my guy offensively. He is my bat first. Name the label, I don't care. I also call him the poster child of the hitting lab. He's the metrics guru guy that I'm sure the organization loves very, very much. He had a breakout season once again because he was finally healthy. I believe he had the health issues, missing a lot of time the year prior. So, but also now, here we are, 2025. He slashed 282, 379, 491, 870. In the year, he had 17 home runs. He had 32 doubles. Now, again, defensively, I've been throwing the label out there for better or worse. If anyone wants to argue and fight, I've considered him Mark Vientos 2.0. You take that as you want to take it. But again, this is an amateur shortstop who came into pro ball, immediately moved to third base, started logging time at first. He's been bouncing around the positions as a pro in the Mets organization. But when push comes to shove, the battle between Reimer and the beast, Ryan Clifford, I am going with pure hit tool metrics offense. That is my decision. If you have an issue, tell me why you choose Ryan Clifford and how high you see Clifford's ceiling. Now, second base is pretty interesting. You can put a lot of guys at second base, obviously. One of my favorites who has been struggling now with a lot of injuries, so I haven't chosen him for my pick. I love me some Boston Barrow. So I think Boston Barrow is going to have a version of a breakout back to normal season in 2026, but he's not my pick. My pick for the top second baseman prospect in the Mets organization is Mitch Voit, the new guy, the new draft pick, Stearns pick, obviously. One of those athletic guys. Again, we're going all athletes, all metrics. My thing about Mitch Voit, at the second base position, already out the gate in his brief time with the Mets organization for the St. Lucie Mets, he played elite defense at second base. He showed off range. He showed off glove. St. Lucie Mets, shout out to them for their broadcast. They basically had highlight reels almost nightly of him diving, jumping, doing anything possible, making all kinds of plays at second base. I think that type of athleticism can help him move around, to be honest. Shortstop and third can be possibilities in the future, but I want to put him and stick him at second base for the purposing of this positioning. I think he has a bright future. You have to throw out the stats last year. They were terrible. He only logged 22 games. He hit some, didn't hit. Here's the thing, 22 games, 20 stolen bases. He basically averaged a stolen base a game because every time he got on base, he's taking a base. And again, elite defense. I like the idea. I love the thought of Mitch Voit. We love the energy, by the way. We've seen the energy from college. We all saw the videos. I think he could be a strong, athletic guy with a whole lot of energy that'll probably fit really well in the New York market. So I love the idea of him. That's my choice. Now I have another weird choice for the position of shortstop. It's an obvious player, not obvious choice, but I'm trying to fit guys into certain positions. And again now, national publications that I respect, like a Baseball America, stuff like that, I've seen information about they felt defensively, middle infield-wise, he showed progress. So for me, for positioning-wise, in order to give Mitch Voit a spot, because I love the idea of him, my pick at the shortstop position, which, by the way, is filled with a lot of guys in the Mets farm system who don't fully play shortstop. So my choice for the top shortstop in the Mets organization right now, my pick, Jet Williams. I understand it's going to anger some people. Hit me up in the comments if you want to argue his defensive abilities or liabilities at short. If he has shown enough progress, he has the arm strength regardless. Even as a short guy, he's got strong arm. He can handle the throw. Doesn't mean I really want to put him in third, but he's got the arm. He's been making some improvements. He's still young. he's still my pick. He's always going to be an OBP guy. But by the way, last year, 17 home runs, 34 doubles, 7 triples, 34 stolen bases. The key for himself, Short King, getting on base. He's got a 388 pro career on base percentage. He's going to keep getting on base. He's going to be stealing bases. I think he can make enough contact to even be an everyday player. But defensively, I'm putting him at short. We all know the obvious with Lindor, but position-wise in the Mets farm system, for now, I still see him as a top shortstop. Which brings me to third base, because we have a guy that we rank very high who's very young, and I'm moving him to third base for the purposes of my list, my projections, my positioning around the diamond to pick a guy at each position. My guy, a.k.a. my kid, that I pick as the top third baseman in the Mets farm system is Elian Pena. The guy who, yes, oh my God, comes into pro ball, $5 million signing bonus, starts over 26. The sky is falling. He's a bust. He goes from 0 for 26 to a 949 OPS by the end of the year, way down in the Dominican Summer League. So there's a long way to go for this teenager. But again, 949 OPS, 36 to 36 walks versus Ks in the season. He could be an absolute stud. I still see him as a top 3 prospect in the Mets organization by next year, pretty much. He could probably start hitting top 100 lists, depending on how he does stateside in 2026. By the end of the year, he'll probably be on the top 100 lists, would be my projection based on his ability and ceiling and talent. The reason why I'm putting him at third base, even like guys like my guy BK Fan, who's all over the IFA classes and the DSL, even he has, he's talking about, well, I could project him moving to a corner infield spot. He could be a guy, because of Pena can grow in a lot of ways. Shortstop may not be his true, legit glove position. Now, can he be a second baseman? I would say absolutely. But with a guy like this, if the power progresses, if the overall hit tool continues to be dominant, you want to put him anywhere anyway. I think he could stick at the third base corner infield position. I think he'll have enough power. He's already got the doubles. He'll probably start hitting a lot more as he gets older. Now, at the right field position, this was a tough one for me. I'm going with a wild card guy who has not, quote unquote, succeeded by way of the box scores as a pro at all since getting drafted. But it's all about the projections for him, what he can do when healthy with his bat, with his swing kind of command, his ability to only swing at strikes, plus an exit velo guy. That's the kind of guy that they can feel he can believe and be in the future or near future, is Eli Serrano. He's a guy I don't want to give up on, so I'm going to put him in right field as the position player in the Mets organization, as the top guy, specifically at the position. Last season, he had 50 walks and 77 Ks. The ratio is okay. The K rate is not too high, but again, he keeps missing time to injuries. Not a comparison, but are we looking at another version of Brandon Nimmo, who, when I was reporting on him in the minor leagues, it seemed like every year he would miss a small group of games, and we got to wait for him to come back, and development was getting slow. I feel like this is the college bat version of the younger Nimmo version when he came out. So let's hope and pray for a healthy, full 400-plus AB season or 380-plus at-bat season for an Eli Serrano, because if he does, if he gets to finally show the power, even if he has to start in A-ball but hurry up against AA to get out of those parks in Brooklyn, we may see some really nice power from Eli Serrano. The last 2 positionings also in the outfield, center field specifically. I've been talking about him a lot during the year and even now in winter. My projections, to be honest, he could be the number 1 prospect in the Mets organization by this time next year in a consensus rankings. I'm going with the young A.J. Ewing, who's still only 21 years old. I believe he won't turn 22 until summer. So for half the season, he's still only 21 years old with double-A experience. And last year, he hit overall at 3 levels, low A, high A, double A combined. He hit .315 with a .401 on-base percentage for the year. .429 slugging, 830 OPS because there wasn't a lot of power. And I know that's people's concerns. What kind of power can he be? Because when you have a star quality guy like this, how many home runs can he hit? That's all we care about nowadays. That's going to be the question that maybe turns him into an all-star. If he can put up enough home runs, he's probably a perennial all-star candidate. But again, this is a guy who's only 21, hit 315 overall, over 400 OBP. He had 70 stolen bases last season. So he could be a budding star if everything aligns. But again, power, home runs and doubles. How many of them is he going to hit at the AAA level and then hopefully the major league level? That will determine his bright future. The final player is going to be pretty much an obvious player. And I know I'm the one who wants him in center field. But again, this is how much I love A.J. Ewing's future. So projecting both of them in the Mets organization in the future, that's why I'm choosing A.J. Ewing for center field. And I'm moving Carson Bench to left field. Carson Bench, we all know. Basically the top hitting prospect right now, in my opinion. That's been my opinion since last summer when I ranked him and started to rank him above Jet Williams towards the end of the year. That's the kind of bat. He's a balanced overall player. He's an opposite field dynamo. He's going to hit the ball to left center. He's going to have home run power. I don't know how much, but I think it's going to be enough even to be a corner outfielder. A lot of people, including myself, have talked about the arm strength of Carson Bench. I think he's going to be a very versatile player. It's going to be an exit velo guy. You're going to hear, Gare and everybody talking about the exit velo sometimes when they bring it up on some home run or some double. It'll be over 100, 105, 110 mile an hour. They'll be talking about it because that's what he's capable of. And that's what the entire farm system is capable of. This is exciting times, guys. Again, even for me, obviously. We're talking about one of the top farm systems in Major League Baseball that the Mets now have. They have all the resources, and they're going to do a lot with it in the near future and beyond. Speaking of which, continue to follow me and my channel on the New York Mets Dove Report to get all this information as it continues to roll in. Starting next week, in the next week or so, some of the top pitching prospects in the Mets organization, a very small grouping of the elite pitching prospects, are going to be quietly having a program / camp / instructional league type program at Clover Park in Port St. Lucie. I'm going to try to have all eyes and ears. I'll be sneaking around, hovering over some walls. I'll try to give you some guys information as it happens. So possibly expect by mid-January, hopefully by then, I'm going to give you a private quality report on some of the top pitchers who are getting together, because I think there's a theme of why they have been chosen, because I think their ETAs might all be 2026 as options. So I think we're going to be seeing some guys that I'm going to tell you about. You're going to start seeing them throughout the immediate 2026 season, and you're going to say that you heard it and you heard about them from me first. Thank you guys for the support. I'll see you next time.